Hello everyone, this is Genius Yoshi, and today we're building a deck list around Scar, the Shameless Firebrand. This was a request from one of your viewers in comments, so if you have any requests for specific decks, do post them in the comments. I will at least take note of them and perhaps feature them in the next video. But back to Scar. So Scar, Shameless Firebrand, is a 6/6 for 8, non-inkable, with Shift 6 and a rousing speech. When you play this character, you ready all characters you own which cost 3 or less, but you can't quest for the rest of the turn. Alright, so this is not a great card. It's very expensive, it's uninkable, decent stats, but you can get these stats on a 5-drop, approximately, with Sorceress. So, to make use of Scar, we really must make use of this ability. We get to ready our 3 drops or less. Well, what can we do with that? Start by including 4 Scars in our deck, which is typically a bad practice for non-inkable 8-drop, but since he's our featured card, we want to see as many of them as we can. So one thing that we can do is protect the character. So you can play Maleficent, binding her time. And then we get to quest with a Maleficent, and even if the board is full of predators like Gaston and Maui ready to pounce on her, we can just ready her with Scar, and she's untouchable by combat for the rest of the turn. Unless the opponent has a frozen character on the battlefield that can exert Maleficent yet again. But then again, nothing can protect you from this point. So, we're going to be playing Maleficent. Another thing that we can do is sing songs. So we're going to be including Friends on the Other Side, which puts us in amethyst and ruby, colors that are flavor of the month at the moment. Another thing that we can do is ready ourselves for another combat. So we're going to be playing some Rafikis, because Rafiki and Gaston is just a pretty good combo at keeping early board aggression at bay. So we're going to start a little bit like a Ruby Amethyst Super Control deck with the Gaston, with the Rafiki, but we're going to be also playing some more aggressive options like Maleficent and cards that have abilities that are useful if they get unexerted. In the case of Maleficent, it's just protecting her. In the case of Elsa, for example, we get to quest with her and then freeze a character, or freeze, then ready her again and freeze again. So Amethyst has some of these great tools with the song and Elsa and Maleficent to protect. And honestly, that's about as far as synergies go. Now there's another card that does a similar thing, but is much better, which is Lefou Instigator. Whenever you play Lefou, you get to ready a chosen character, but that character can't quest this turn. So we're also going to be playing 4 copies of Lefou. And then keeping on brand with this, we're going to be playing some Mulans, because Mulan loves to get unexerted, which can only be done by Lefou. She's a little too expensive for Scar to come and play and unexert her. So Mulan is going to allow us to quest more aggressively with our characters, and if we can ready her with Lefou Instigator, then we can start adding a bunch of lore on our characters. So let's look at what we have so far. We have some 3-drops, we have our big 8-drop, a couple of 2s, a 1-drop. We kind of need to complete the curve at this point. So we're going to be looking at the expensive cards that are pretty good. Queen's a very good inkable 5-drop. Maui's a pretty good inkable 5-drop. And then looking at our 4s, I really like Pongo as an evasive threat. I really like Mickey Mouse, Wayward Sorcerer for the 2 quests, solid stats. And we did need a bit more punch in the early game, so we're going to be adding the Brooms, the Bucket Brigade. So by adding that, we now have a healthy dose of 1 to 2 drops, good amount of 3s, 2 4s, 2 5, actually 3 inkable 5s, and an 8-drop. So then we kind of ask, what are we missing to make the deck just better. Well, there's no removal so far, so we should consider a removal spell. And Ruby has access to Dragonfire, so let's play some Dragonfires. The other removal spell would be Prepared, but we're playing already a bunch of relatively cheap characters. So I don't really want to play Be Prepared, even though Scar is the one singing it in the picture. I don't think it really fits with our game plan here. So I'm going to be filling the curve with some copies of Maleficent. Because when you don't know what to put in something that trades itself for another card. And Maleficent is one of those where she fits the 1 to 3 ink. We can use Scar's ability to give her a second wind. Maybe we quest with her and then we use her to sing Friends on the Other Side. Something like that. And that's the list. It's somewhat similar to a Ruby Amethyst super control deck without the super control, and with Scar, Shameless Firebrand at the helm, just trying to ready all our small characters, protecting them from assault, allowing them to get a second wind, a second chance to use their abilities or to sing songs. And that's the deck list. All that remains is to see the deck in action with some games. Alright, we're going first, trying to scar our opponent. We have one non-inkable, decent curve. No one drop, but that's okay. We're gonna ink a 3-drop Maleficent and pass the turn to our opponent. Opponent inks a fill. We're gonna ink a Maui. And go for the brooms. Trying to brush off whatever our opponent is doing. Magic Rooms, always working. Shuffling a card from the target player's discard, which there are none, so we didn't get the effect, into their deck. Opponent plays a fill, 3-1 for 2, with support. It's an interesting ability. I don't mind trading the brooms for fill, so I'm going to quest. I definitely want to play that Maleficent, so I'm going to ink my other Maui. And play Maleficent onto the board, drawing a card, a Gaston. It's probably going to be my next ink target. Opponent goes one jump ahead, singing with Phil, inking a Tinkerbell. So it's another Steel Sapphire deck. That just got 3 inks into the ink pool this turn. No sweat, no sweat. You can ink your Gaston. And I'll take advantage of that fill being exerted to tackle it with our Magic Brooms. Using Mickey's ability, we get to recover the Magic Broom, which is pretty nice. The opponent, yeah, the opponent can sing. The opponent can cast a whole new world, but in case the opponent doesn't do that, we're going to sing Friends on the Other Side to draw 2 cards. It wouldn't be a good time for opponent to cast a whole new world, but it's a card we need to always be cognizant about. Smash. Going into the ink pool. Opponent plays 5. 5 for Let It Go. Banishing our Mickey Mouse into the ink. Now that Mickey Mouse is exerted, which seems like a perfect time to drop Rafiki on board. Let's send that Magic Broom into the ink. It's done most of its job. So Rafiki, and let's go with an Elsa here. Rafiki will deal the damage to take out that Mickey Mouse, thanks to its rush ability, and Maleficent will quest for 1. little mysterious sage, monkey mage. As the opponent resolves a big Tinkerbell. A Tinkerbell that kind of hurts. Dealing 1 damage to everything. I have a ton of dragon fires. I can't ink Rafiki, so I can't double spell here. I'm afraid of losing some characters to another Tinkerbell, but with my hand composition, I don't have much of a choice. I have to hope that our opponent doesn't have another Tinkerbell and just take out the Tinkerbell with the Dragon's Fire. Basically, I have to unload all these Dragon Fires because I can't ink them. They're a bit of a liability. Ooh, opponent plays a Robin Hood, drawing a card in the exchange. Not a big fan of Robin, I must say. But now it did pay some dividends. Alright, well, at this point, again, we mostly have Dragon Fires. So we're going to offload another one. And we're going to ink a Lefou. It would be more efficient to play the Queen, but I don't want to run out of resources. It's not all about being ink efficient. We are gaining quite a bit of lore with these quests going on. Oh, there it is. Robin Hood. It's been long dead, but still. A 4/4. If our opponent has more cards in hand, we draw a card. And it can challenge through evasive. Opponent inks a card and casts a whole new world. And it's a whole new game. But our opponent lost some tempo playing that. Opponent only has 4 ink available to play whatever they want. Whole new world. Fantastic card. 37 cards left in our deck. We still haven't seen a Scar. And it'd be a good time to draw one at that. Ask and you shall receive. And there's the Scar top deck. Don't really want to fight that Grammatala. So I'm going to ink a Queen here. Quest with everything. Yeah, I'm going to play the Scar. This is a Scar showcase, so might as well play it. Can take out the Grammatala, but there's unfortunately no good combat, so we're just going to protect our character from the Elder Sapphire Woman on the other side of the battlefield. But not from our opponent's swords, which is what I was afraid of. Scar still lives, though, as the one questing 8-drop that's still alive. Well, it's still 6/4 at this point. Decent combat stats. Opponent reaches the quest of 2 and drops a big Maleficent. Well, Scar is a good match for Maleficent, which is good. Now the opponent has played the board wipe, so it's a good time to just drop a lot of stuff on the board. I really want to play my Rafiki. Don't overly care for a Gaston. 9. Let's diversify our threats. So we're going to go with Maleficent. It's a questing threat. Rafiki, a combat threat. And then a high HP card advantage threat. Rafiki will take out Grammatala. I don't like giving our opponent the extra ink, but I want to make sure that Maleficent plus Grammatala don't take out Scar. I'm going to quest at Scar. Passing the turn back. So now we have access to the Queen. 4/5 for 5. Quest for 1. And instead of questing or combat, we can draw a card. Opponent plays Grab Your Sword. Actually sings it with Maleficent. Opponent hard casts a second Grab Your Sword. And follows it up with a Smash. So a lot of damage. But it's 3 cards. It's a lot of cards to play. And now we are sitting with our 4 cards to your opponent's 3 cards. And we have the beautiful Maui here. Can take out the exerted Maleficent using its 6 power and this big scythe of death. I'm not exactly sure what that weapon is, but it looks terrifying. We'll just drop a Mickey Mouse to go with Maui. Maybe Maui's weapon is the waves. He just goes, buries you in water. Opponent plays a Hades, sends Mickey Mouse back into our deck. Our ink pool. That's what Hades does. He just brings you into the pool. Well, our opponent played so many board wipes. We have the ink for it, so let's just drop everything on the battlefield. Maui can't quest. So we're going to have to pass the turn. So the opponent spent a lot of board wipes. A whole new world is very beneficial for us here. And we have 2 high combat characters with an Elsa, which is a decent position. Opponent inks a card and plays Tekka and Robin Hood. So just big beaters at this point. Pongo! Man, am I happy to see you. Pongo is just an invasive threat, which is kind of what we need right now. So all of our opponent's characters quest for 2. Do I have a reason to quest here? I mean, I can use Elsa's ability and then challenge with Maui. But then Elsa's a sitting duck. And then whatever targets Elsa becomes a target of Gaston. Or if I sit back, then I can keep Elsa for a weaker threat. I think I'm just going to sit back. Pass the turn. Short of our opponent drawing a Tinkerbell, that move would have been good. Short of our opponent drawing a Tinkerbell. What are the odds? Well, actually, the odds aren't really that bad. They're like 1 in 15. Ooh, Scar. Scar is cool. Oh, he's 6'5". What do I want to take out the most? Or do I just want lore at this point? So Pongo will quest. If I quest with Elsa, it brings me to 15. Doesn't really help me. But I'm going to do it anyways. Because I get to play Scar to unexert Elsa. And she's protected. Could also have used her ability. And then protect her and use Maui to take out whatever our opponent deems, well, whatever we want to take out. Because now Maui is weak to a second Tinkerbell. But the odds of the second Tinkerbell are pretty slim. Our opponent already played 1 Tink, 3 Grab Your Sword. Opponent plays a Maleficent. Robin Hood gains evasive. No! I needed to use Elsa to take out Robin Hood. I don't play enough against that card. Ah, that's a major misplay on my side. We had it. We had the way to deal with Robin Hood. Can we come back from that mistake? I would say unlikely at best. Possible, but unlikely. Opponent quests with Hades, Tekka. And Tinkerbell. Alright. Well, Maui's going to take out Hades. Gaston's forced to challenge. So Gaston should take out Robin Hood. Yeah, Gaston takes out Robin Hood. And then Scar can take out Tinkerbell or Tekka and still look pretty decent. So take out Tinkerbell. No one will play the magic brooms. We have 3 questing ability. Let's improve our draw chances here. And not misclick on a Gaston. Misclicking a Gaston is not what I wanted. Probably not going to impact us too much. Our opponent drew the jump ahead, which I hope is the one we sent back with the magic brooms 5 turns ago. Or I'm not sure how many turns ago. Well, Scar is dealing some damage. Tekka gains some lore through combat, and we top deck Maleficent. Maleficent's a good draw. We find the Gaston, which is unfortunate. I didn't really want to find Gaston. And that was meant to play it. So this is a classic case of the second mistake. So you make a mistake. First main mistake that I've realized was that Robin Hood, and then I'm rattled and not paying enough attention to what I'm doing. Opponent has a Hades, since Elsa to the ink pool goes to combat. And we're relying on top decks to get us over the line. Maleficent is probably the best draw I can get. Gonna ink a quest, forcing the opponent to do some combat, probably with Hades. Maleficent will quest to 16. And then the opponent has lethal. And there's nothing we can do about it. We can play the Mulan. There's that Gaston was in play. We're gonna quest, go to 19. And that'll be the end. Clicking a little too fast off of a mistake, costing us the game. But it was a really close game and a fun game. So good game, opponent. Let's see what we start with this game. We have a Scar. The Dragon Fire, that's 2 non-inkables. It's a little too much. The rest of the hand looks fine. We'll keep Scar. Make sure we get to play it. Draw another queen, so lots of evil queens and Maleficents in our opening hand. Only have 1 turn to play, so we're gonna ink one of these queens and simply pass the turn back. Let's see what our opponent is going to do. Our goal is going to be to mop the floor with our opponent by using the Bucket Brigade. As the opponent is developing their brain, like us, they're not doing anything on turn 1, but they're not doing anything a little bit better. Actually, that was turn 2. Opponent got to play first. We hit a Mulan. Since the opponent is playing Sapphire, I prefer Mulan to Maui, so I'm going to send Maui to the ink and play the brooms. Sure. Let's send develop your brain back into your deck for no real reason other than I wanted to check how to activate that ability so that I know how to use it when it counts. Opponent is playing a Tinkerbell, so Sapphire Steel, a grindy matchup. If that's the case, still don't really care about that Maui, especially with the Dragon Fire in hand. Play Maleficent to draw a Pongo, and we'll pass the turn back. Maleficent, just a card draw on the stick. As the opponent inks Let It Go to shift Tinkerbell, the big one, and cast a Draw Your Sword. Alright, well that's a power play. Draw Your Sword, just destroying our characters. So the opponent lost a bit of the ability, lost a bit on the ability of Tinkerbell. I have 2 Mulans, so I'm going to ink 1 and play Pongo, since it's the most ink efficient play I have here. And I'll pass the turn back, hoping that our opponent doesn't sing a whole new world, because that would be backbreaking. Opponent casts spell, strange but special. I'm okay with that. Although the opponent could ink 2 cards and then still sing a whole new world. Opponent decides not to ink anything and still sing a whole new world. Still very bad for us. I should say Scar! But we've drawn another one. Actually, the first card we've drawn is another Scar. So we're sitting with our evasive threat in the face of our opponent having a Bell and a Tinkerbell. More ink than us. I must say, I don't really like our odds here. I think we have to be ink efficient. Well, ink. Oh yeah, I can't ink a Rafiki. Well, I'm gonna ink a Gaston, play the Rafiki, apparently, and play a Gaston. Since Rafiki doesn't have much to do, might as well just sing Friends on the Other Side. Oh no, it can't sing. It can only challenge. Well, Pongo will quest. Alright, we'll pass the turn back. So, we've sung nothing, and we've played a Monkey King. The Mysterious Sage Rafiki, 3/3 rush. Can't sing or quest with that rush, but he can challenge on the turn he's played. Opponent plays a Mickey Mouse, inking 2 more cards from off the top of their deck. As the turn passes back to us, opponent decided not to quest with Tinkerbell. I'm a little unsure why. That's okay. I want to ink something. I guess I can quest Pongo, play Lefou. Let's start with that. Quest with Pongo, play Lefou, which allows me to unexert Pongo thanks to his ability. And then I get to sing Friends on the Other Side with Pongo, still being evasive, meaning that he can't be challenged by our opponent. Then I'm going to have access to 4 ink. Don't really need another magic broom here. So we're going to ink that, play Maleficent, play a second Monkey King. Then I'll keep everything unexerted. Well, and we'll just pass the turn back to our opponent. Nothing like a turn 6 1-drop in Maleficent. Steel Sapphire is one of the most stressful decks to play against because they can play Grab Your Sword to deal damage wide, and they can play Hades to vanish characters in a single target way, like what was just done there. Hades, King of the Underworld. Powerful removal. Whenever you play it, you put one of my characters into my inkwell face down. But we're getting close. Actually, we can scar. We can scar here. I'm not going to be using these Elsas, so Elsa can go. And now I have a very fun scar. I get a quest with everything. And I won't be vulnerable. Take that. All my characters still ready. It's like it never happened. The opponent was getting ready for good combats, but the rattling speech of Shameless Firebrand allowed us to just ready all our characters. Opponent plays another whole new world, trying to find a board wipe. Develop your brain. Opponent's digging deeper. Opponent has 27 cards to our 29. What we need is another Scar. Just keep on questing with everything without leaving ourselves vulnerable. Opponent is inking like crazy. I guess they are the king of inking. As another Hades decides to take out our Scar, giving us 1 ink in the exchange. We're nowhere near matching our opponent's ink count. So here Gaston has to fight Hades. Sorry, my friend. Although I'm not sure I really want to be friends with Gaston. He doesn't seem like he has the most shining of personalities. Alright, so what do we do here? We can draw some cards, we can ink a card. Definitely want to ink something. 4 + 4 + 2 seems pretty great. Because we're ahead on lore, I think I want high toughness, high questing lore characters. Oh yeah, and I get to play a free Broom, which is pretty nice. Free Broom! And I'm going to look at our opponent's discard pile. And our opponent can have 1 jump ahead. This would be a terrible draw at this point. So I'll send that back. We can ink an Elsa. I'll keep the Maleficent. They just go down too easily if our opponent has any kind of removal. And we can quest for, well, not 10. We can quest for 3, 4, 5. Forcing our opponent to do some combat. So let's go with that. I mean, how badly do I want to play that extra Maleficent? I still have 10 to play next turn, so let's go for her. Why not? Opponent's really just holding out on that bell. That thing can quest for 5. The opponent is just really set on trying to control the board and is somewhat succeeding in that. As another Tinkerbell enters the battlefield, as I was afraid of, taking out our Maleficent. Now Tinkerbell is going to deal with our Rafiki. Mickey Mouse takes out our other threat, and we are stuck with 5 of questing power on the board. Make that a bit less as the opponent lets it go and sends a Mickey into our ink pool. Beast Mirror into the ink pool and Whole New World, I imagine. Now the opponent decides to go on the questing train and plays a second bell. Alright, how much can our opponent quest for? 21. Okay, 21. Can we stop that? Well, we need to take out Bell. Oh, we're going to need to Dragon Fire the unexerted Bell. That's pretty sure. So 16. Can we deal with 16? We have a Rafiki. Rafiki can help. Rafiki can challenge that Bell. Kind of want to take out that Tinkerbell too. So if we take out Bell and Tinkerbell, opponent can quest for 6, 7, 8, 9. It's not good enough. And we don't have anything else to deal with Bell. So I think we just lose here. Draw almost free Brooms. Come on, let's play Brooms. Just because we can. Yeah, I don't think I can come out of that. I'll take out Tinkerbell. Brooms go back into my hand. I'll take out Belle, the heavier quester. But it's not quite enough. Let's play it out in case our opponent doesn't see it, but the opponent should see it. They do, as the questing has begun from Mickey to Tinkerbell. And even though we landed that amazing Scar, it just wasn't enough. The opponent had a bit too much removal, a bit too much power, and we unfortunately take a defeat. Let's see what we get this game. The Maleficent, too many Pongos. Let's send one Pongo back. 2 Pongo backs. I'd like a 2-drop to round up my curve. I find Brooms. Brooms is good, especially on the play. Don't really want the Elsa this early into the game, so Elsa's going to hit the ink, and I'll play Maleficent. Just the ability to quest for 2 is all we're asking for. Opponent plays a Lilo, matching our 2 questing power. But we got there first, so we're going to simply quest. I'm gonna keep. I'm not sure what to ink here. Opponent's playing some kind of aggro strategy. I definitely want to play the Magic Rooms. I want to keep the Mickey Mouse, and I want to play Maleficent on 3. Probably Mickey on 4. So I'm gonna choose to ink Elsa. Maybe this is gonna have ramifications way down the game. But for now, it's one of the options. Opponent inks a Tinkerbell. And plays Simba, the protector of Lilo. As the opponent inks with Lilo, quests with Lilo. And we get to play Maleficent to draw a card. And we'll pass the turn back. Simba, just a cute little bodyguard, preventing us from challenging. Or else we're going to be feeling the wrath of this little guy. Just in time, there's a Cusco. Turn 3 Cusco really hurts. But that means our opponent doesn't have any removal, which is quite interesting. Oh, I like that Gaston here. I really like that. I'm going to ink Pongo and go for the Broom's Gaston. Yeah, you can have it just in time back. We're gonna be playing that Gaston. I don't overly care for this Maleficent. And Gaston keeps Cusco at bay pretty well. Really, the game plan is going to be Combat Madness with Mickey. And we can probably keep her Maleficent alive afterwards. So now that we have the Magic Brooms in play, we're going to be playing the Mouse. Mickey Mouse. Wayward Sorcerer. Pay 1 less for Brooms, and whenever my Brooms get banished into combat, we can return them into our hand. I just want the opponent to go questing on a big quest, leaving themselves quite vulnerable for our Bucket Brigade. Opponent's thinking about it, knowing that if that board falls, victory is ours. But yeah, Lilo, Simba, just in time Cusco is rough. Turns out we have a pretty good hand to deal with it. Okay, opponent decides to leave the Cusco. we're going to be continuing with our main plan, which is to play Mickey. We'll send a Broom in, and the Broom will go back to our hand. Do I really want to go all eggs in my Mickey Mouse basket? Probably. Again, the opponent has no removal here. So the Broom's Mickey combo is very strong. Yeah, I don't care so much about you having a Simba. I'll send that back into your deck. And Brooms can quest. And Maleficent can quest too. I don't like throwing away the queen, but we have this very powerful board presence with the combination of Mickey and the Magic Brooms. So Gaston helps quite a bit. Simba comes in protection mode. As the Lilos go to quest, and Cusco. Alright, well, I have the Rafiki, and Rafiki blows you to smithereens. Rafiki takes out Simba. Gaston takes out Cusco. That feels really good, I must say. Gaston does go away, but that's okay. And our Bucket Brigade is going to take care of the Lilos, and then we're free to quest with nothing to worry about. Rafiki, all-star rusher, all-star Simba assassin. Very good at that role. I think I underestimated that card a little bit during the original previews, as it's done a beautiful job here of paving the way for our Bucket Brigade to take out our opponent's Lilos and win the game. I hope that you've enjoyed this video featuring Scar, Shameless Firebrand. We did get some cool activations of Scar where we readied all our characters to protect them from assault, where we've used some extra abilities here and there. Fortunately, we didn't end up winning those games, but we did get to see Scar in action and pack a bit of a punch. We've also seen that the deck is a little subpar compared to its full control variant, as is expected. But that's not exactly the point of this video. The point of this video is to play the Shameless Firebrand in all its fiery glory and get a few wins, get a few good games, and have lots of fun. Again, I hope you've enjoyed this video and enjoy the rest of your day. See you next time.